But is not intrigued.
Not intrigued?
Go on.
No, you're intrigued.
No,
I'm intrigued.
I just like lying sometimes.
Liar.
Liar, liar. Answer dire. That's my situation.
I have literally slept, what, 2 to 3 hours max?
Yeah,
the
let's
last
not air that.
4 nights in a row.
Time to go to sleep, man.
No meth.
That's
No
called
meth to help.
meth, guys.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to another episode of This Is Our Normal Podcast. I am your host, Saul Jones, and I'm sitting here this week with my co-host, Brian Hood.
That's me.
Don't call him Sweatshirt.
No one calls me Sweatshirt.
Brian Hood Hoodie. And Aric, there's no chance I know your last name. What do we got?
Archambault, or you can just call me Rochambeau.
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of sounds like Rochambeau.
Rochambeau is
I used to get called that in high
guest.
school.
And then, of
Rochambeau.
course, Joel Cowen, our producer. Oh, and I just want to remind everybody before we get started here to go to our website at thisisournormalpodcast.com. You can find everything about us there. They'll have all the episodes that we've previously recorded, as well as links to, Spotify, Google Play Music, all that good stuff. You guys know the deal by now. If you want to support the podcast, go to
Please
iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, and go ahead and leave a comment there as well.
It helps us.
Let
us help you. Help us help you.
So, Archambault? Is that?
Archambault.
Yeah, what's up, Rochambeau?
It's French Canadian.
So,
Allegedly.
I live with him. I live with Aric. And how long we lived together, Aric?
I've been here for a few weeks now. Couple weeks.
Very, very vague.
I
All
thought he was
right.
going to say
I like
long
this
enough
already
to
off
party.
to a good start.
I don't know. I got out of jail 2 weeks ago, so that's what I'm
Lucky.
going on.
Oh, wait, I had no. Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like a fucking criminal, so I assume.
Yes.
I get that a lot.
No.
Don't we all?
No. Don't we all? Not all of us. Just you two over there on that side of the
Me
room.
especially, I feel like. And that's
Me and-
fair.
Me and Joel.
It's fair.
Me and Joel are like, you guys over there on that side of the room. Look a
You
little
guys ever
criminal.
been over to the Jamba Juice or Starbucks combo?
No, so Aric actually came very prepared this week and has a lot of content here for us. I didn't have to. I didn't have to put any content together. He's got a whole map here. He wrote down a whole outline. You should submit this and get your novel set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you working on a
I'll work on
little
that.
short story there, Brian?
I like to get the podcast started off really fun, and there's this crazy ass story. There's all it says on here is pushing cart in Huntington Beach.
Does he really need to say anything else, though?
I think there's
That
more
pretty
to
much
this.
explains.
That
That
basically
sums
wraps
it
it
up.
Eric, you ever done drugs?
A little bit.
Tell me
Once
about,
in Huntington Beach while pushing shopping carts, I'll
Yeah,
tell you that.
Yeah. Tell me about this story, man. Tell us. What's this up? What's
Well, on one of my my mini relapses, because I am a
Hold
chronic
on.
relapser.
What is a
what's your-
mini relapse?
No, many relapses.
Manny. Okay,
Yeah,
go on.
yes, yes.
I-
Multiple. Yeah.
What was your DOC?
Well, pretty much everything, but what took me out was
Wait,
heroin.
no. I fucking hate it I fucking hate that. DOC, drug,
Heroin
singular,
and
of
meth.
choice.
That's
No,
two
that's still
drugs.
two.
Still,
No, that's-
you've narrowed it down, pal. You're well on your way
You're getting closer.
to the target,
You're
but
getting closer. No.
Meth first.
Meth, okay.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, my DOC was opiates,
hey,
but yeah.
you know what though? To be fair,
No, I don't know what you said.
because
You tell me.
I used to say the same exact thing that he does,
Until I enlightened
but it's actually changed over time.
you. What do you mean?
It was always opiates for me until I got real
Oh.
bad into meth, and now I honestly got to say that it's probably meth first instead of heroin.
Really?
Yep.
Why? What changed?
I fucking couldn't tell you, but I promise you that it's true.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, meth does produce more dopamine.
But like I said, well, maybe that's it. But like I said, it's both. I have to have
Yeah.
both.
See,
so
That's
I
still-
almost feel
hold
like
on.
it's a fair statement, even though you don't
It's
like
absolutely not, because their drug is singular. Drug of choice.
it. Right? Well, drugs of choice
No.
still stands for DOC,
No.
or vice versa.
What's your drug of choice? We all know we all love all of them, guys. Let's be honest.
I don't love all
My
of them.
drug of choice
I
is
fucking
yes.
hate some of them.
My drug of choice is yes. Help me
More.
get to yes,
Yes.
please. No.
Well, the reason I say that is
Yeah.
because I like to put both of them into a needle at once.
so
and
does
Thank you.
so does this clown
it's
over
called the
here.
goofball.
Yeah.
Not where I come from,
What do you
but
call it?
yeah. Well,
It
we
is-
didn't call
it
it
is-
that. We called it speedball, even though I know that's
Speedball's
coke
coke.
and heroin.
Okay, so
Okay,
Hoodie's been
guy.
wrong on 2 accounts tonight. Let me take a break from the mic. No, I'm just kidding.
You just sit the next couple plays out, pal.
No, so
All right, go ahead.
shopping cart. No, go. Let me hear this story, Aric. What do you got for me?
Okay, so on a pretty gnarly run, and end up homeless in Costa Mesa.
Go on.
Costa Mesa is pretty close to Huntington Beach, and when you're in psychosis, you just kind of walk around the streets not knowing where you're at.
Correct.
And I happened to be walking down Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach, and stumbled upon this interesting crew of people. I couldn't tell you their names. I don't really remember.
Could you tell us their faces? What's the difference between a group of people and an interesting group of people?
Well, these people were homeless, and
Okay.
So you're
Alright.
saying you were interesting as
I
a
think-
person.
Yeah,
Have
pretty
all
much.
three of us been homeless at some point?
I've been
I guess
actually
so.
homeless.
Okay, I was
I
homeless.
don't know, but
for-
considering ourselves.
You don't think I was homeless for 2 days.
You didn't even have the G20 either.
I didn't have the G20 to sleep in. It was hard for me.
You know what?
I was
When you're displaced from anywhere that you can go
Yeah.
sleep at night and call home, you're homeless.
yeah.
So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Homeless or not, whether you're in the bushes or you're fucking couch surfing, it all sucks.
Yeah,
I like dumpster enclosements.
Wait, what?
Bro, I got a nice cardboard box I can sell you.
See, yeah, I love
All
that.
right.
I love that shit.
The rent will be much cheaper than here.
It's crazy because when I was at like my darkest, it's like, oh, all you have left here right for this minute is homelessness. Like I could go home to my parents, right? I still had that option, which a lot of homeless people do not have that option.
Yeah.
I was lucky I had that option. I would have been accepted home.
So you were
At any time.
selectively homeless.
No, listen to this though, but I would have had to stop using drugs.
Abide by
you know?
rules that you're giving the middle finger to.
Right, because, but oddly enough, you'd think at that point I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to will myself to stop using right now, right?
That's not
not
how
gonna
that
work.
works. That's how any of this
I
works.
wanted to stop using though, right? I
Right.
wanted to, I wanted
course.
to just be able to go home, but I couldn't. And not my parents obviously could not. You don't take somebody in when they're psychosis on meth. That's crazy.
You would think.
They probably would have, by the way. They probably would have taken me in for a minute there and then forced me into treatment.
My
or
mother
gone.
did for me when I was trying to get into treatment, only because I said I was trying to get into treatment. And I did. It just took months of battling with the insurance companies. But your loved ones, whoever's, always got your back at the end of the day, I know they call it enabling, but sometimes there's a fine line between enabling and let's just get this motherfucker some help when they need it. But you got to be careful mixing the two.
Don't get me wrong. No, my
confusing
parents,
the two,
my
rather.
parents absolutely would have got me help. I don't mean my family in particular. I mean addicts in general. When we get down to that level of like, that's all we have left is it's like homeless or stop using drugs.
Right. If there's an ultimatum, you're
Well-
going to always choose.
Drugs.
Right.
But why is it? Why don't we just will ourselves to stop?
Yeah,
Is my
why
question.
don't we
will
just
yourself
stop,
to
Saul?
You want me to go
Explain that
into
for
it? Can
us.
I go into my
Yeah,
spiel?
please. I'm listening.
You guys like it? I set myself up.
Yeah, that
You
was
so
good.
did,
That
bro.
was
You
good.
walked right into that one.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just, and I say this on other podcasts, it's like, it doesn't matter how dark things get. It doesn't matter how bad things are. You cannot will yourself to stop using drugs.
Nope.
The part of your brain that wants to will yourself to do anything, the part of your brain that wants anything, the part of your brain that has your characteristics, your morals, everything, that's your prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
Part of the brain with the addiction is that your midbrain. That's the part of the brain that also craves food. That's the part of the brain that has your fight, flight, freeze, or fuck in it, right? Well, that's also the part of the brain that pumps your heart, right?
Yeah.
So I challenge anybody who thinks we can just will ourselves to stop using drugs. Will yourself to stop your heart for 6 seconds.
Well, it's like Aric chopping off both of his arms and trying to push carts in Huntington Beach. Like,
Well,
you can't
it just
do it
doesn't work.
without your fucking arm.
All
Well, unless
right,
you're gonna
I'll
do
get
a
off
one
my
footsies.
fucking. You're right. I'll get off my. Go ahead, Eric. Sorry. Good one. Good call.
worries.
I do like to go on that one a lot. Go. Hey, do tell us this. You run into a crazy group of homeless people, correct?
Yeah. Well, and me being homeless
you're
too. If you've ever been homeless for a long period of time, you'll find that you just run into people on the street and you're immediately friends with them. You just start talking
Why
to
is
them.
that?
You know
I
what
don't
made
know.
you
It's
friends?
just like, yeah, it's just
the
like,
pipe in your pocket.
yeah, exactly.
Fucking you tell me, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's exactly right.
But come on, like when we're out there and we feel like we have a mutual connection or a bond of any sort like that, it's easy to take in who you can at the time. It's not like you're being picky over your friends at that time.
No,
point in time.
totally.
But go ahead with your story. Sorry, I didn't mean
Oh,
to
no
interrupt.
worries. But I was walking by and, noodle grooving down the street.
Fuck yeah.
And this guy I can't remember his name, but he just happened to look at me and he had there was 2 carts. He had a scooter, a bike.
Couldn't remember his name, but I can remember that
Wow.
cart. I'll
Yeah.
never forget that cart.
Well, it was
Still
a
got
cart
his
full
number,
of
bro.
it was a cart full of trash, and he thought it was all important stuff. You know,
yeah,
he
it
was
was,
like this.
dude.
That was his belongings.
was.
so,
He's
yeah.
gonna build a
that is
flamethrower
important.
out of car stereos.
Yeah, like broken DVD player, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And he just kind of looked at me and was like, "Can you help me with this?" And I was like, "Of course I can.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely.
Is that
I can
even a
help you with that."
question?
So he said, take this scooter and pull this cart. I will ride the bike and I will push the other cart.
Wait. Is
No,
this
it's intense, dude.
Organized
camping?
crime.
Yes, like
intense?
camping. Yes, intense.
hold on. This is a real person? Or
Yes, this is really
there was
happened.
really hold on, the whole, what else was there? There's a fucking...
There's 2 carts, a scooter, a bike.
Okay.
So you made a scooter, bike, cart train.
Hold on.
Pretty much,
Finish
but-
this story because this is...
Yeah, we'll keep fucking...
Go ahead,
keep
sorry.
going, man.
I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. But I just started kicking it with this guy, and I was literally, and this is why I like the title of this show. This is our normal, because this is completely normal to me.
Yeah.
I'm riding down Beach Boulevard on a scooter, pulling a cart full of trash.
Yeah.
And basically trash. He thought it was like a gold mine.
Right.
But and he is on his bike, holding on to the other cart and pushing it while he's riding his bike down the street. And there's cars zooming by us, looking at us like we're crazy people. We're sweating bullets, and just the rest of the night we're just wandering out around Huntington Beach, jumping in dumpsters and looking for gold,
Shit.
And
Did you find anything good?
I mean, at the time I thought it was good.
More
Well,
importantly,
what?
did
What
you
was
have
it?
the head flashlights, the tweaker lights that we
No, now that I think about it, I wish we did.
Walmart?
We weren't doing it right, I guess.
Hoodie's well experienced. Huh?
No, so much experience. Let me throw that on the resume.
Wait, so what did you find? Even if it wasn't good, what did you find?
We found like like kids' toys in the dumpster and like electronics, DVD players,
What was
TVs.
your plan with these things? Well, I've always wondered.
His plan was to take them to his meth dealer down the street who lived in the van at some park in Huntington Beach. This really crazy lady. No, I mean, I'm not joking. When I met her, she opened up her door and trash started piling out of her
I
car.
believe
A
it.
hoarder, huh?
Yeah,
Oddly enough,
hoarder
I
to the
believe
max,
it.
man.
Yeah.
And but his idea was to trade all of this good stuff to get dope.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Never do we stop and think when we're doing this shit, by the way.
Yeah. No. Oh no.
People are throwing this stuff away for a reason.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Like, we're just going to come up on the biggest payload ever
Yeah.
in a fucking dumpster.
Yeah.
So is that okay? I've always like I see, especially when I was in Nevada, there's a large homeless population out there. It's a real struggle, and it's hard to see, and and a lot around the rehab that I was staying at, right? And you see them pushing those carts like you're saying with all this stuff in it, and I know it's important to them because that's all that person has. It'd be important to me too. Like I used to have my own apartment. I had a lot of things in there for me. I had TV, couches, furniture, pots and pans, bed, all that stuff. All that stuff was really important to me, right? Like super important to me. And then when I moved down into when I went into rehab, I left everything. The first time I left everything behind to my ex-wife. I just said, I ran away basically, and it, I all I have now basically is I have a suitcase worth of stuff, and that's enough for me. But that little bit of stuff means so much more than everything that was in that apartment.
For sure.
And so I imagine, I mean, I can't relate, but I imagine that would be what it is, but what stuff is that in there? And that's a plan for something. There's a plan. You know what I'm saying?
There's no plan.
There's
dude.
no plan,
Let's
really.
be honest. Well, go ahead, Eric. But
how do you
I
decide?
think we're on the same page
How
when
do you
we say
decide
that
what
there
to
is
keep
no
and-
plan.
No, it's no plan. It just everything just kind of happens, man. I know it's hard to explain, but it's just you find stuff and you think like, oh, I'm gonna get so much dope for that. Like, oh, we're
You believe it.
We're winning
You
right
believe
now.
it.
Yeah, we're about to come up.
Yeah.
Like we're about to start dealing right now. We got DVD players. We got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I
Scarface all
mean?
over again, bro.
And you talking about your belongings and stuff like that, and what you have is super important to you, man. I've been on the street, and my stuff's been stolen many times, and I was devastated because that's literally that was my stuff. That's all I had to my name. You know what I mean? So it was
almost like karma going around for all the shit we stole from other people.
Exactly.
Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah.
So you meet up with this guy. You guys start going looking for shit, and then what happens next? Where do you go from there?
We're just tooling around Huntington Beach, man. Like literally
pushing
until
shopping
for like a day and a half. Yeah, pushing shopping carts. At one point, we it got too hard, so we ditched one of the shopping carts. We kind of consolidated stuff and got rid of certain things
Like
that
I
we
said,
didn't want. Yeah, exactly. Trying to stay organized, except, we're just dumping the stuff like on the side of the road, like not putting it back into trash cans like we took it out of.
Yeah. This is part of our plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're running amok and making it look really bad as we do it.
I don't think it looked bad out there, man. I think that's nothing new.
Yeah.
Hey, so I know that when you got sober, you went into a treatment center, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I've been into a lot of treatment centers, yes.
How many have you been to?
I lost count, but it's in the double digits.
Enough to party.
Shit. All right. Well, let me see here. You got on this, was this fun in recovery? Is that in treatment or is that...
It's a little bit of both, yeah.
Okay. Let me hear, because I know, like, when I was going into, like rehab for the first time, I was terrified, and I really just thought it was going to be kind of like jail or prison. Like, I didn't think that, but it's a blast. So
I thought the same thing, man. Before I first went into treatment, I wasn't sure what to know.
Jail and prison are not a blast, by the way.
And it's pretty fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So tell me what kind of like experience you had where it was fun in recovery and in treatment.
Oh, I mean, dude, when I actually went through Hope by the Sea, my
Hell
first
yeah.
treatment center I ever went to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's my first as
Plug
well.
and Hope,
Don't do that.
Yeah. But we as it happens in treatment, you're going through a bunch of like vulnerable stuff, opening up and letting the wall down, and you do that with your peers,
Right.
and you get really close and you want to go do fun stuff.
Yeah.
So a couple of my friends and I, when we were at Hope, we went to
A bar and got drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the first plan. No, we went to, I forget exactly where it was. I think it was in the San Fernando Valley.
Directly on that one when you talk. That mic.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah. No, you're good. It's my fault for having a crappy mic.
Oh, you're good.
You just gotta stay right in front of it.
Yeah, definitely. But we went to the San Fernando Valley. I forget exactly what city, but it was it was like a color fest, like this Hindu color fest type thing.
Okay.
And it was literally like electronic music,
How long sober were you? How many?
I think it was a little over 90 days, but it was a big group of us.
Oh yeah, but okay. And so 90 days, so you're starting to feel okay. You've already gone through.
Right.
You're fully detoxed at this point. You've also had time to where you've been in recovery for a bit, been in the treatment center to give in to some of the therapies and some of the and you're starting to recover.
Yeah.
That's
also right when
the light's starting to come back
on.
on.
The real heavy fog starts lifting,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually, first of all, have emotions again.
Yeah.
But also think you know everything all of a sudden.
Oh,
for me,
that's true. Me too.
as soon as I hit the 3-month mark, I'm like, I'm fucking good, man.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah, like things are good and you're gonna ride that wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you guys went out to have some fun because you're finally feeling fucking good.
Exactly.
And what happens out this color fest?
I actually have a picture of it, so if you ever want me to send that to you, I can.
That's going up on the website.
Yeah,
definitely.
That'll be at podcast.com, and it'll also be on our Instagram and Facebook page as well.
Nice.
So basically, it was just it was a big concert where everybody's throwing powdered color at each other, and just like it sounds crazy, but it was super fun.
Are you sure this isn't
Powdered
also when
color
you're on
now?
that?
No drugs involved. Absolutely no drugs
I
involved.
know, too.
Lots of tie dye. It was kind of a hippie thing.
Still no drugs
Turns
involved.
out he was
Still
at
no
Burning
drugs
Man.
involved.
Turns
I
out
mean,
he
I'm
was at
sure
Burning
there
Man.
were people that were there that were on drugs, but me and my
But
friends
you
weren't
guys
on
weren't.
drugs.
How many
Let's
of
be
you guys
honest.
went out, by the way?
It was about 7 or 8 of us.
See, okay, fucking love that shit. When we mobbed around, I had my 26th or 26th birthday in treatment when I was at Hope by the Sea, and I was so sad that I was going to be in treatment for my birthday. I tried so hard to go home for my birthday, and they kept me. And Huddy takes us all out, the whole house, right? There's a good 8 or 9 of us. We even broke fucking Trippy out, remember, because he wasn't in Yellowface yet.
Busted him
We
out.
Busted him out.
Even though I was mad at him, I was like,
residential.
you know what, dude?
we all go out. Hoodie takes us for pizza. He wouldn't let me pay a dime, of course, per usual. And then afterwards, he takes us to get these milkshakes at In-N-Out. And all I'm thinking of, dude, I'm looking around, and it's my first time really in like a big group of dudes because I didn't go to camp growing up. I didn't do any of that. I had too much anxiety, I panicked and whatever, so this is my first time like really
social anxiety.
Yeah. And there's a big group of dudes, and we're all sitting out there, drinking milkshakes for my 26th birthday, and like it's just like a bunch of criminals and fucking drug addicts.
You're welcome.
It's just like we're all just out there fucking drinking milkshakes, dude. It really opened my eyes to like how possible this is. I don't know. And how much.
I have
fun
an
you do there.
Instagram picture of me out front of that pizzeria, by the way.
Bullshit.
I do.
Okay,
It's
that's
on my
going on the
Insta,
website as well.
but I'll post it. Yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. So okay. After this festival, what happens next? Is that you got more to this one?
No, not really. I mean, there's all sorts of fun stuff you can do in recovery, and I know, like, certain programs they talk about not going to like shows and stuff like that. But I've been to so many shows sober with a group of people and had just a blast, dude.
You gotta be careful though, and that's cool, man. I think that's a good idea, but you do have to be careful because, like we were just joking around about, most of these shows and festivals you go to, drugs are very prevalent.
Right.
And if you're not in the right state of mind, or if you're the wrong people, like I said, networking in another episode, you got to be careful who you associate with, because you get a couple people with the same state of mind and it's not a good state of mind, you're going to go do something stupid.
That's true.
As long as you're careful, but I'm so with what you just said you were doing. That's cool, man.
Yeah. Mikey Hall talks about it in the Mikey Hall episode, about he does the same thing. He goes to like he goes to raves basically. That he and he's gone up to Canada a couple times and gone to raves. But he talks about. No, go ahead, Hoodie.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but they have actually sober sections now.
Yeah.
So because it's become like more and more of a thing.
Yeah.
But they actually have sober sections.
Now?
What? I didn't hear
Whoa.
How do you prey on all the women there?
Okay.
That's for another episode.
There's that.
Doesn't it feel like that though? Here's my problem with dating,
sure.
being sober, is it's like a lot of girls will want to go out and drink, and I have no problem with that at this point in my recovery. It's like, I don't like to drink anyways. I haven't since I was like 21. I haven't drank in 3.5 years. It's like I can go out when somebody's drinking at this point in my recovery, but it's like I don't know. I feel like I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, it doesn't bug you because
sorry, that is what I was gonna say. It feels like I'm being a predator because they'll go out and drink, and it's like they get a little tipsy, and it doesn't matter to me how much they drink. I feel
weird about it,
like
and that's
I'm taking
natural.
some
That's because
sort
you're a
of
good dude.
Yeah.
But it's the dude that doesn't have a problem with it and encourages it that we got to worry about.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? They're doing that because they're nervous and have anxiety and want to whatever. And they have
I understand.
They have to do that to have a good time, but that's not on you. So, if it bugs you that much, don't do it. Otherwise, let them do what they're going to do.
I've actually stopped. It's not like I'll pick and choose like, oh, if you drink, I'm not dating you or anything.
I don't think that's how it should be.
No,
I don't think you should totally disclude your options for that reason alone. I mean, that's just kind of illogical in my opinion. But
my only thing with it is like, I don't do it on like a first or second date. I want to really know the girl before I do it because that's the only way I feel comfortable. You know what I mean? I don't know. But so okay, what you got, man? I'm sorry. Eric.
You're good, man.
I keep Eric's got all these great stories all the time. He tries to me and him talk, and like I'll talk and talk like I do, and then he goes to tell me back, and I'm like, save it for the podcast.
Save it for the pod, bro.
He comes on the podcast, and I'm like,
and he's like, shut up, Eric. This is my show. Do you even go here, Eric?
Apparently not.
Show.
No, it's all right, man. This is how it happens. We just start shooting the shit, and we lose track of what's.
Dude, I dig it.
We've actually covered more of your stories than I think than we have of anyone else's.
Hold on. Tear down the wall and taking off the mask.
Wow.
That's the tagline for this?
Tear down the wall?
That's about group therapy.
I don't think it's even built yet. I might be mistaken.
Hey, I tried to get a little dramatic with my...
See what I did?
Man, you hate Trump, huh, Eric?
Yeah, no, I don't, nah.
That is the cheesiest line ever.
Yeah, I know. I kind of did that on purpose.
But I would still like to hear it.
No, it's just, I don't know.
So anyways, Hoodie.
Oh, man.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's just, when I first went into treatment, I was really good at, like, putting on a facade, like everything, kind of like a smoke and mirrors act. Like, hey, everything's fine. Like, people ask you, oh, how you doing? Like, oh, everything's good. And really, realistically inside, I like hated myself.
Defense mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. I put on that mask, and like, I know it sounds super cheesy and super cliche, but it
doesn't. Especially when you've been living on the streets, man. You learn to you have to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and you're already in a very vulnerable situation. You got to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to make sure people don't fuck with you.
Yeah, no, I feel that
I
one.
see what you're saying, like a high defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which worked really good in jail, to be honest.
No, dude, anyone can be anyone they want when they go into jail. That's what I hate about that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You meet people and then you get out and you go and like look them up or like see their social media and you're like, you're literally none of the things that you claim to be. And that's okay.
It's like in
Pinocchio.
rehab, everybody's the drug dealer. No one's the actual addict.
Right. They're
Everybody's
all
like,
the plug.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, really? You're all,
I'm
everyone
the
is?
plug, bro. I push at least a gram a week.
Yeah.
Who do you sell to?
I'm dealing big amounts, yeah.
They
No,
keep
but-
their elves.
But I gotta hear, man, because it's really hard to do when you, especially like coming from a background where you have, trauma or like, I mean, that's got to be traumatic living on the streets for any amount of time. And how long were you out there? You said?
Man, off and on. I mean, I've been trying to get sober
Yeah.
and stay clean for about the past five and a half years
Oh yeah.
since I moved down to California. Because I'm originally from Washington State, so
Washington.
Washington, yes,
Washington. What's the longest you've had clean?
yeah. A year and 4 days.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Damn, down to the day.
Yeah,
What
well, it
happened
was.
with that?
I was kind of, I wasn't really like doing anything for my recovery at that point in time. I was just kind of white knuckling it.
Sure.
Ended up,
Why they gotta be white?
Yeah.
ended up
All
in
of
a,
sudden, Aric.
basically a trap house in Costa Mesa, and all the people there were wondering like, why are you here? Like, if
Yeah.
you're clean,
Let
you
me
just
see
took
your
a-
badge.
Yeah, if you just exactly.
I'm
And
gonna tell both of you right now. Neither one of you would ever be mistaken for a cop.
I have
I-
though. I've been accused actually. Not that I care now, but in hindsight, that's pretty funny.
He wishes. Anyway, there.
Doesn't, but also doesn't take offense.
all right, where were we?
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
were
go
gonna
ahead.
tell us about how did you break down those walls in
Uh,
treatment?
I don't know. I guess it was the group I was with was a really good group at Hope. But I guess that happens in treatment whenever, with the people you are with, like, you're in a vulnerable state and you're talking about like serious stuff, like you talked about trauma. And then you start opening up about that stuff and, you start to get vulnerable, and it was really, really hard for me, but then I started seeing other people do it in like group therapy, which was like super kind of awkward for me at first,
Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Getting in the group and they're like, telling you like, just be honest with how you're feeling. And it's like, I don't really want to tell you how I'm feeling. Like, I don't trust you, dude.
That's the point.
And I don't know
Yeah.
about for you, but when I was at Hope, we did stuff like where we would pick like 3 or 4 of our other group members,
Psychodrama.
and like we the psychodrama, and we'd pick them. We'd tell them, okay, you're my mom, you're my dad, you're my sister, you're my other
Role-playing, yeah.
sister, and then they have to sit there and you have to like talk to them.
Oh,
how you
family
would-
sculpture.
Oh, that family sculpture.
Yeah.
Oh, family. Yeah, that's what it was. My
Psychodrama
bad.
is similar, but you have a conversation one-on-one with each
Yeah.
one of them or something. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know.
Psychodrama was super like really like intense.
Like
There-
camp?
yeah, like camping, just like that. I
That's
had,
so hacky of me. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I mean, you guys know Brian Pong. Yeah.
Pong, if you're listening, man,
Yeah.
I love you, miss
A little
you.
Pong,
shout
if
out
you're
to Brian
listening, good
Pong. I
morning.
miss you, dude.
BFD, by the way, Pong. Good morning.
He did my psychodrama with me, and it was really
What was that like?
overwhelming.
What was it like going on? So you had already heard other people doing theirs, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, and so
I waited for a while because I was like, I don't want to do that, dude. And they're like, you have to. I was like, oh,
yeah,
what?
I mean, you're looking at people like you said. This is one of the reasons we all get so close because you're seeing these people go up there pouring out their most
Exactly,
intimate,
yeah.
fears or flaws or whatever, and trying to deal with them. And then you're like, I don't want to go do that. But what was it that like? How did it feel when you finally got up there? Before you even start, what was the feeling going up there, man? And how did you get yourself to finally go up there?
I mean, it took
Time.
yeah, it took a little time, and my therapist to just be like, you need to do it. And you're doing it today. You have no choice. Nobody else is going. I was like, oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah.
But when I finally hopped up there and started doing it, and talking for a little bit, I forget exactly what I was working through, but just eventually just broke down. I just couldn't help it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of stuff that I've been packing down for years, that I hadn't really worked through, so it finally just kind of overflowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did it feel like walking away from that?
I felt great, like a weight was lifted off my shoulder. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hell yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, no, it was a great feeling. And over I kind of need to do the same thing now after years of off and on drug abuse and trauma. So
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I think it's important to to not only have like a mentor or sponsor that we can kind of go through, that's been through something with us, but that's been through the similar things that we've been through, but like to continuously see a therapist after you leave treatment. I mean, it's been a huge difference in my life. It's a consistent, at first, you know, it's once a week for me, and then like just like it was in treatment, and then them coming out, it's like, you know, at least once a month, and then maybe once every couple months, or you know, but it helps me continue to grow and change, and it's important to me, and without it, I was miserable and depressed and anxious, and like you said, so since you did that at Hope, other things have come up in your life and happened.
Oh yeah.
You got to deal with things as they come up. Things aren't going to stop happening.
No.
So we can't just stop our therapy
Right.
and our treatment and our whatever we do to
you
fix
can,
ourselves.
but we all know what happens when you do. For
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
though, let me just touch base on this real
Would
quick. So as far as all those groups you're talking about, Eric, and that's great, man. I think it's really important for a lot of people. I'm a different type of fucked up myself, so
Go on.
my trust issues go so for that's Saul. You know how small my
yeah.
circle is. And it's
I'm
for a
it,
reason.
by the way.
Yeah.
I'm his circle. I revolve around him, and he calls it a circle. It's like, Hood, I
Gloats.
can run around you as many times as I want. It's not an
Saul
act.
is
So-
the circle.
But my point is, for me, I didn't get a lot of work done in those rooms myself. It was mostly done on the one-on-one stuff. I had really serious stuff to talk about that was really messing up my head at the time, and I got most of my
What
therapy.
was the biggest stuff for you? Say it right now on the air.
I can't.
No, I understand. I
Literally
understand.
can't.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
I mean, I'd be in a lot of trouble if I did. But so there's a lot of stuff that was weighing on me for a long time that I could not trust anyone with, and I made my therapist show me legal documents showing me that she could not share what I was
No.
about to tell her.
Dude, talk
for
about
fear of my
fucking
safety
walls,
and freedom.
Huh? Maybe this tagline isn't corny. Tear them down, man.
But you got to be careful who you tear them down with, because
Yeah.
right now I'm in a situation with my living situation because I made a bad decision on who to trust.
Yeah,
And it just goes to show you.
Do you feel comfortable talking a little bit about that? Because here's
I'd
the
rather
thing.
not.
Well-
Not right now until everything's over with.
Okay,
But
okay.
I will just say this: that be careful who you trust, and you never know. So just always kind of protect yourself. But I basically
point
got
is
screwed
just
over. By
in sobriety, stuff continues to happen.
For sure.
You're sober and you still have to deal with real stuff. But
right,
now you
and
don't have your-
allegedly the other party is as well. But yet here I am, kind of fucked over because of something that I trusted another person with.
we don't have to talk about the incident that's going on right now. But can I just say this? Okay, so when we're using and stuff, that's our coping mechanism, right? When anything happens, we can run to our drug, we can do that.
Right.
But then, you know, we go through treatment or however we get sober, and then we go home and we have real fucking life happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so what are you doing in this situation? I mean, this is a fucking hard thing to go
Talking
through.
to people like you. It's I depend on my circle, and that's it. I don't count on anyone else. At the end of the day, I like to kind of, put my feelers out, and hopefully one day I'll find another person I can add to it.
Yeah.
But it's very selective. It's 1 in 1,000 people that I meet that I actually
I'm pretty fucking
stay,
good. I'll be
in touch with.
it.
But it's for a reason, man. And my point is most of my recovery and getting straight in the head at least was done with my therapist. I think it's very important. Not for everyone. Like I said, everyone's different. Some of you are going to get more work done in those rooms. Some of you are going to have more luck with your therapist.
Yeah.
For me, it was a therapist. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's good to hear each side because honestly, it's funny. I'm directly in the middle. I had a fucking wonderful therapist. I've said her name on here. I'll say it right now. Erin Perez. She listens to the show. And she changed my world. I came in so broken. So, by the way, she just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Erin.
Yeah, happy birthday, Aaron.
25. And
I donated to your thing. Kidding.
But
seriously.
for me at first, it was the therapist because I was too scared in those groups, and I was so I was scared in those groups because I had like I said before, I'd never been around a group of guys, and so I didn't know what would happen, and then I opened up to her, and I mean seriously the next week. All of a sudden I started coming out of my shell, and then I was able to do those rooms a little more, and but I had stuff that I could talk about in those rooms. Obviously it's different for you, Hoodie. You have to kind of
sure, yeah.
But
well, I like hearing that because for me it was just a different. I like hearing the different side of it because I had a hard time opening up to my therapist.
Yeah.
For in groups when I saw people doing it themselves and opening up, I kind of gave me the courage, I guess. I don't know.
That's the easiest way to go about it. You look at, but you also, you got to be careful. Look at what other people are doing. If it seems to be working for them, try it out. But make your own. Always form your own opinion on everything. Not everyone's the same.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to find one uniform fit for a program or whatever it is. So yeah, find your own.
What was it that finally like drove you into treatment? Like what describe
let's
your
hear that,
describe your
please.
life leading up to when you were finally like okay,
Going into
all right,
treatment
I'm
the first time?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, this was back home in Washington, and
Washington.
yeah, good old Washington, Tacoma,
Skid Row.
This time? Is that oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's this one right here.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, it was a long 19 days. I
Always is.
Yeah, exactly. And see, that's
19 days, 3 sleeps.
yeah, pretty much. You fall asleep here for like an hour here and there, but like
But you never hit REM. So
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
yeah, for sure.
Overrated, anyways.
yeah. that was just it was a really rough time. I was working. I still was holding the job, but
Where were you working?
it's a place called Mod Pizza.
Oh, okay.
It started in Seattle, Washington, and I mean now they're all over the place.
Oh,
But
that's cool.
I've actually seen one out, I believe, here.
Yeah.
Or at least heard of it.
oh yeah, Laguna Hills probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I helped open that store up actually.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But and it's hard to fool those guys because the thing with Mod Pizza is it was like a second chance company, so gives jobs to like drug addicts and like convicts that are fresh out of jail.
Not their first rodeo.
Yeah, exactly. But my I was just using methamphetamine. That was my main drug
Only?
of
That
choice.
was it?
Yeah, I
Nothing
didn't.
else? You didn't even need treatment, bro.
I mean, I didn't try heroin. I mean, I'd done like Percocet and stuff like that, but I didn't try heroin until I moved down to California. So
Okay.
yeah,
Heard that one before. No, but seriously, a lot of people come out here
Yeah.
and discover new shit.
It's
all-
crazy.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky.
But I was just kicking it with some blue collar tweakers, and
yeah.
Noise.
yeah, it was it's just it was definitely a fun, interesting, horrifying time.
How so?
Well, so going to work every day, but staying up basically 19 days straight, and
Jesus
Lucky.
in psychosis, like seeing people that aren't there. I call them the treeple. People call them shadow people.
Yeah.
And
When's your breaking point, by the way? Mine's 5 days. After 5 days, that's
yeah,
when
that's
I
about
lose
5
my
days.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once the sleep deprivation starts to kick in,
So bad.
and then you add more drugs on top of it, and then
Right.
it just keeps.
And then it's okay. Once you get to the point where you're able to you hear a voice and you're like, nope, that's the myth.
Yeah.
That's when you know something's wrong. You're recognizing your hallucinations.
I
Yeah.
had a set of people in there that like it was full schizophrenic. It's like what's it called? Paranoid schizophrenia.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
broke out into that, and I'm lucky that it went back afterwards because sometimes methamphetamine can actually cause you to just permanently be a paranoid schizophrenic if you have that like gene in you, if you have that
Mhm.
can
vulnerability.
trigger it, yeah.
And to be honest, it went away. But like if I were to like not sleep, like if I get lack of sleep, it starts
It comes
fucking
back.
creeping up on
Yeah.
me. I've been a little stressed out this past week, and it's like I just like I didn't sleep as much, and that starts creeping back up on you, and it's like do you still have that now? Do you have any issues now?
Sometimes. I don't know. I tend to be a pretty good sleeper when I'm not on drugs. So.
And it probably gets better the more time that goes on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes,
And by the way, we have some stories for me and you to talk about some episode about your little phone calls you'd make to me.
oh
and text
god,
messages.
save that shit for the fucking Three Amigos.
We're gonna
episode
talk
during the
about
week.
that for sure. But
I
all right.
don't even know what you're talking about. I have no
Oh,
idea.
you're
Go ahead,
gonna
Eric.
find out.
I mean, there was just, later my roommate that I was staying with at the time, he would tell me that he would come into the living room and I'd be sitting there talking, and to me, I remember what he's talking about. I thought I was talking to a room full of people.
Right.
All my friends were there,
And thinking about it right now, thinking about the memory of it, it as
seemed
real as a
real.
regular
Oh,
memory.
yeah.
Those people were there. It's not.
Yeah.
But they were there.
Yeah.
Still in
Until he came out and said my name multiple times, and then I snapped out of it and was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, what up, dude?" And he was
Yeah.
like, "Who are you talking to?" I was like, "I gotta go," and then I left. And go hang out with the because this was all hidden from him. He thought I was just drinking and just kind of normal partying, quote unquote.
Some of it actually comes from mainly like obviously the drugs have a huge part of it, but the lack of sleep is really big because when you don't hit REM sleep, and then if you don't hit your REM cycle, and then you're awake still, you will start literally dreaming while you're awake, and that's what some of those hallucinations actually are.
And paranoia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you're imagining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're dreaming them. You're dreaming them up while you're awake. So okay, he comes out, they disappear, and then you're like, what? What do you tell him?
You bounced out. And where did you go, bro?
Well, I took off and just kind of was kicking it out in front of my old work, Jack in the Box, out in this city called Graham, where it's just like a super tweaker city, dude, out in the middle of nowhere.
Sounds
you
like
really know how to pick your location.
Yeah, dude, it's I'm really good at that. And I met this cat. His name was Doug. I don't really he.
So generic.
Yeah. No, he's I'm friends with him on Facebook still.
Last name funny.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I started hanging out with him, and he was a heroin addict, and he did a little bit of speed, and I just was like a meth addict, and just this was the last week, and before I went to treatment, and he got introduced to some really interesting people.
I love that word, by the way.
I don't know. That's the only way I know how to describe it.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
like
okay.
it. I like
love
it a lot.
And they
I almost already know what you mean when you say it, so it's
the only word I have for it. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm talking like, which I've never met, and after that day, like I'm talking like 67-year-old heroin addicts that are still like
60.
Yeah, oh yeah,
7-year-old addicts. Those are too young to be.
Yeah, wait,
No.
7-year-old, 60 of them.
60. Oh my gosh. 60 to 70. I don't remember their exact age. Like old, getting up there in age, like slamming drugs. You know what I mean? And at this person's house, I met this guy named Tex, and I started hanging out with him, and he told me he just got out of jail.
Tex was from
Sounds
Cali,
like
right?
the guy you want to hang out with.
Yeah, I don't know where Tex was from.
Probably Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't get a word out. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead,
And I'm taking him to, run some errands. He needed to go cash some checks, run to the welfare office. And
I have so much to say, but go ahead.
You're good.
Give him a minute to at least get one of these out. Me and you have just been bombarded.
Yeah, you're good, dude.
Floor is yours, bud.
You know what sucks? I've been fucking dying for this episode because all week long his stories are so fucking good, and I haven't let him get a single one out because I've been too excited.
We need to start splitting them up.
Go ahead, man.
But, hanging out with this Tex guy, and we ended up going to his house. I don't know, it all hit me super hard. Going to his house, his wife is in the back room, shooting heroin and meth.
Sounds hot.
And I'm sitting in the living room with him, that Doug guy, and his son, who's like 14 years old. And we're all smoking speed. Even his son.
Raising him right.
14-year-old.
Good. Hell of a guy.
And this is kind of the point where I realized that I needed to change because, I was kind of reflecting on, the past, few weeks, 2 weeks, 19 days, whatever.
Like, what am I doing
Yeah,
here?
exactly. Well, and he looked at me and he was like,
hey,
man.
Turns to the 14-year-old, pass the pint.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Babysitting my bull.
It tripped me out, man, because he sat down and kind of gave me this stern talking to. He was like, hey, man, you're not, you don't deserve to be in this kind of life. You're going to do great things. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you should get clean and not hang out with people like us. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why are you telling me that?
Like what you
and you're
specifically?
Not, and you're not telling your son
because
that.
He gave up on himself.
Yeah.
And probably the guilt.
Yeah.
But he knows right from wrong, just like we all do at the end of the day. I think that's probably what it was.
Yeah, it just kind of, it made me sad that, his super young son was smoking speed and he wasn't telling,
Right. Yeah.
And that just kind of messed with my head for a little while. And then I ended up going to work, and it was not a fun sight while I was at work. It's a pizza place that I worked at. And I'm making pizzas, and my manager is a recovering addict. And he comes up to me. He's like, yo, bro, you got to come in the back with me.
Yeah, you got to stop putting meth in these pizzas.
Yeah, dude, he was like, dude, you're noodle grooving. Like, what's going on, man? And I'm doing the MC Hammer dance. You know what I mean? On the line.
You thought you were killing it in the pizza game.
Yeah,
dude.
Dude.
I made more pizzas today than you ever made in
a
month.
I was like, dude, I've been working the line by myself. Okay. He's like, you look like you're dancing though. Like, what's going on?
He's like, there's been no line.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm waiting for the bad news.
Yeah. But he brought me in the back and he was like, all right, tell me what's going on, dude. And like, yeah, I kind of broke down to him, and it was super cool of him and his girlfriend, who are both recovering addicts, brought me to their house because they lived out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like let me detox. My parents hadn't heard from me for a couple weeks. So they were worried.
Right.
And, they brought me there, and, I was super sick, dude. Like, I'm talking like sinus infection, cold, flu.
Oh, Jesus. Because meth breaks down your immune
And
system.
I hadn't really slept, you know what I mean? And I'd been going nonstop.
That's what breaks your immune system down, is the lack of REM.
Yeah, that and
over time, especially
sleep,
19 days, dude. You
realize
how sickly you have to be
dude,
at that
it was
point.
not good. Well, and
when you're on a cycle of that on and off, it really gets bad over time. That's how I've gotten pneumonia in the past.
Yeah. And they gave me what do you call it? NyQuil.
Keflex? Oh,
to knock you out?
To knock me out, and they thought they killed me because I literally fell asleep and did not move from the same position for 3 or 4 days.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and they knew what they were doing. They put a bunch of like candy,
you ever had.
bunch of candy on the table.
So
when
wake up and have a little.
Exactly, I don't remember eating the candy, but when I woke up out of that, like,
you had 3 cavities.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just had like candy wrappers all over me. But that was just the catalyst that sent me into and
so that's when you finally
realized that I needed.
You're like, I need to.
I need to make a change. Yeah,
okay.
And obviously it didn't stick over the years. I've been.
And sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not always about your first attempt. It's about.
It's about the fact that you keep getting back up.
Exactly.
That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Don't give up.
Yep.
Yeah. So, dude, tell me a little about your time in. Have you been in prison or just jail?
No. I mean, I've spent a couple times.
Tell me about your time in prison.
Just
kidding.
Yeah. So you.
No, I actually didn't go upstate.
Level 4 yard. Am I right?
Yeah.
I think we got time for like a quick jail story. What you got?
Well, I was at the
jail sucks.
It does suck.
The end.
Yeah, pretty much. It's really like.
What were you locked up for?
Residential burglary 2.
You get a strike for that?
I did.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Are those not misdemeanors?
Right. As long as you don't get in trouble again.
No, that's I wish.
I didn't know. I was.
No, it's all good.
Dumb. No, so okay, so you get locked up for that. That's your first time going in, you're saying?
No, it's not the first time I went in, but it's the first time that it was like a serious thing,
Yeah, that's usually not your first offense.
No, I sure
that's
hope
when you've
not.
established your criminal
that's when you really
resume
out a little bit.
Yeah. Dude, Theo Lacey. That's where I started off at the main jail in Orange County in Santa Ana, and then
lucky.
Yeah. Ended up at Theo Lacey, and it was an experience to say the least, because that was the longest I'd ever been in, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen.
How long were you in that time?
Just 2 months.
Oh shit! Okay.
It's 120 with half, because everything's halftime.
Yeah. They even did that with my fucking house arrest halftime.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just there's like Hoodie said on one of his episodes, like the politics and like the different cars, like different races, and
so that happens the minute you get in there. That shit.
Oh yeah, right when you get in there, man.
Really?
It's like you got somebody.
Immediately go find out who's running shit. Or they
How
find
do you find out?
Yeah, they
you
find
don't
you.
just sit there and not talk to anyone.
See,
you're gonna get asked.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they ask you who you're running with. Like you run Wood, you run Serene,
What if you have
Southside.
I'd be like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't even run, bro.
I've
never ran in my life.
Yeah.
No, it's.
Yeah, you got somebody that comes and finds you, right when you get housed. That they kind of break it down for you.
Concierge.
Yeah,
they make it friendly, like, hey, bro, so what do you do?
Yeah.
For work.
Yeah.
But they're really reporting to someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit, man. So you go in. Somebody tells you, like they ask you where are you going? What do you say?
Well, like
I mean, you don't have to say it if you don't want, like, what specific you went to, but like what makes you?
He's not
give
gonna
it
get
the right
targeted
answer?
for saying who he runs with in there.
Oh no, yeah, you just right when you get in there. I mean, you're a white guy, you run Wood, and
for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, I've met some people that run different races, and they're run Southsider, but they look black. It was really confusing. Like they are,
I've seen white Norteños.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
depends on where you grew up and what your neighborhood.
Click up with on the streets,
Mm-hmm.
typically, unless you have no idea, then you're just going with whoever claims you.
Okay.
But I actually now that I think about it, I got a quick story for you.
What if somebody comes in there free agent and you're just like, we claim that?
No such thing.
Does not exist.
Yeah, let's hear the story. You said
I got a story now that I think about it. It was just like really, I'm going to say intense again, just like camping.
Camping. Go.
So there's this thing that I was in the barracks at Theo Lacey, right?
Right.
Which is 192 of us. So it's barrack living. There's a bunch of cubes, 16 bunks per cube. And they're, it's the day room, obviously. And they do this thing if they want to remove somebody for, they do a day room shot or a line shot.
Yeah.
And,
what do you mean day room shot?
Day room shot is, they get beat up to get removed. So if somebody's getting beat up, they get taken out and moved to a different
the other
barrack.
Inmates are removing them.
Yes.
Oh,
You have to make sure it's more than a one-on-one, though, because...
It has to be two people.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
And there was this one, and this guy came in basically, and he got removed from another barrack and, told our rep, and that was not a good thing to tell. He basically told on himself.
Oh.
So.
By the way, I got removed out of my last place.
Exactly.
So this guy's like, well, we don't want you here.
Yeah, so, all right, well, we're going to remove you. But he went and hit on his bunk.
Because you don't want any shit going on in your fucking...
Exactly.
your car either.
It's all politics, man.
It really is.
Yeah.
All I did was steal someone's soups and tell on them for having drugs.
Exactly. Yeah, stuff like that. And...
Weird.
So, but he hit up on his bunk, and they got a couple of the guys to go up there and rip him off his bunk, and I'm watching the whole thing go down, and they're beating this guy up. They ripped him off his bunk, and the cops didn't see it. Oh, so they're beating him up.
They chose not to see it.
Yeah, maybe for like a good 6 minutes. So they had to call it off.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm not joking. I was like, holy crap, they're gonna kill that guy.
Oh
dude.
my god.
Yeah, and they stopped it. Oh, it gets better, dude. It was like, it was really
sounds like
kind of
worse.
Yeah, no, it's gonna get really worse.
Oh no.
And
so 3 teeth later, there I am.
And I'm just saying this. The barrack I was in is super active, man.
No.
It was just like this all the time, and this was just like the most overwhelming story, I think. Yeah. And so he went and rolled his stuff up and sat by the door, but the cops didn't see it at all, so nobody came to let him out. So
he's getting another ass kicking?
Yeah, dude. So they set him up, man. They go, hey, man, go clean yourself up, hop in the shower. And so he hops in the shower, and another guy walks by and says, shower's closed. And as he's coming out, yeah, pretty much.
Just throw that in.
And as he's coming out, he walks out of the shower, and they jump him basically and rip. They ripped his towel off too. So they're in the day room beating this guy up while he's naked and wet and flopping around on the floor. And
fish out of water.
And long story short, they messed the guy up pretty good. They like caved in his eye socket, and it was pretty gnarly, man.
Over some dumb shit.
Over some stupid stuff,
That's just how it is in there, though. I'm not glorifying
cool.
any of this. It's really not cool.
You thought that somebody would take that as glorification?
I'm just saying, we talk about it and we laugh about it. I just want to make sure that everyone understands this is all stupid shit.
Right. Yeah, it's not fun.
Most of it, 95% of the time, is just pointless. Yeah. Sometimes people need their ass kicked, in my opinion, but most of the time when you do in there, it's over something.
It's over something stupid.
Jeez. Well,
yeah, the cops came in shooting their paintball. They saw that one. And
so did that guy live?
Oh yeah, I mean, as far as I know, once they leave the barrack, you don't really know. Like the guys that beat him. Yeah, they got the pepper balls, and they didn't shoot off the big grenade launcher with the rubber ball in it, but they shoot off the pepper balls.
Sounds like Maze Runner.
At least they don't have block guns like prison.
Yeah,
literally wooden blocks that like leave imprints.
I don't have
in
any
your
experience
shins
with
forever.
that.
Well, guys, we went a tad bit long this episode. It is that time. And just want to thank you, Aric, for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, man.
We got to revisit this situation. There's more to tell.
Don't forget, everybody, go to our website at thisournormalpodcast.com. You guys know the deal on there. The main thing, though, make sure you go to iTunes, rate us 5 stars, and please give us a comment with that rating. It will really help us out. This has been another episode of This Is Our Normal Podcast, and I'm here with our producer, Joel Cowen.
Hey.
What up, guys? And we got Aric. What is your fucking last name?
You just call me Rochambeau.
Rochambeau. And then we got Hoodie.
That's me.
Don't call him Sweatshirt.
Do not do that.
All right.
Unless you want.
And this week's exit song here, our outro, is going to be switched up a little bit. Agent Papa is taking us away. Agent Papa, take us away with our new outro song of the week. See you guys later. Don't miss our Three Amigos episode, middle of the week. Bye.